Conversation, a special segment focused on celebrating Black men and Black fathers. We believe Black men are the foundation and backbone of the community. They are fighting an uphill battle against numerous myths and negative stereotypes. And Monarch is doing its part to combat systemic racism and creating content that highlights change agents from our communities and to provide them a space to share their experiences, to elevate, empower, and enable others to advance through life regardless of circumstance. So with that said, I welcome you to Kings in the Kitchen, where guests will be treated to a 5-star serving of commitment, dedication, legacy, and love. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking to a thespian with a career that has taken him from Broadway stages performing in The Lion King and Miss Saigon to film roles in movies such as The Interpreter and Shutter Island, to the TV series such as Netflix House of Cards, one of my favorites, Narcos, and Luke Cage. He is most known for his character, my favorite, Duna, on the hit Showtime series, The Chi.
No.
And although he is extremely grateful for the accolades he is accumulating, his most important role is being a father. Ladies and gentlemen, I am excited to introduce actor and director Curtis Cook. Welcome to Kings in the Kitchen.
Thank you so much for that introduction. It makes me sound like I've done something. I appreciate it so much, so much. Yeah, I'm having a great time out here in Chicago. And you're right. One of my biggest challenges and one of my biggest glories in life is being a father to those 5 amazing young people that I have in my life.
5?
Yes. Oh, 5? Yeah, I have 5 children. So I have Curtis, Isis, and Kimani, who I was a single dad with for a while. And then I married my current wife. We've been together now 17 years, married for 17 years. And we have twins who are actually 17 years old. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you've had, fatherhood.
I hope so. I hope so, because they're still alive. So we're doing something right.
Well, as I was preparing for this, I read some interviews on you, and I read about your struggles in your early days of your pursuing acting and the financial challenges and everything you had. So, some people may not know that. They may think that you have just been laid back, gliding through this thing, but you were fighting for your dream and you were fighting for your children at the same time, providing for them. And that really says a lot.
Yeah, thank you for that. That was a hard time in my life. It was a point where my ex-wife came and said that she no longer wanted to be a mother or a wife. And it was one of those moments where it was like, okay, where you just have to take yourself out of the equation and really try to have empathy for the other person, because you never know what anybody else is going through, right? The only thing that I did say to her at that time was that you may stop being a wife, but you will forever be a mother. Yeah. But henceforth, she left, and there was me, Curtis, Isis, and Kimani by ourselves, and I was not on Broadway yet. I was still kind of huffing it through the city. I had commercials and stuff. I had finished a national tour, but I'm a Black man in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, 3 children by himself, still trying to do acting, and that's it. It was a challenge. It was a challenge, but I'm glad to say that through the creator and through the universe and through all the support and help from my friends and family, we persevered. We made it to the other side, and I'm a better person because of it. Strangely enough, now I'm glad that I went through that. I would never wish that on my worst enemy, but I'm glad that I went through it. I am.
So let me ask you. I have other questions, but just playing off of that, Would you say that those experiences have informed the characters you've played? Have you drawn from those real life experiences? And has that shaped how you've approached roles?
Oh yes, definitely, definitely, definitely. Uh, so I mean, I'm trying to figure out how one particular character correlates with something immediately, but the take the Shy for instance, like a character like Duda, a self-made man, somebody who, if you tell him no or you can't have a seat at this table, he's going to make a way and find his own seat at the table, and a lot of that was how I had to do what we had to do. I mean, there were times my children would tell you now, the oldest thing was like our best meal was black eyed peas with a smoked turkey in there and some rice and some cornbread.
Mm,
Because basically you can buy that pack of black eyed peas for like $1.50 at some point. Sometimes you get it for 79 cents. And then,
mm.
you can just add like the smoked turkey piece in there and you throw it in there and it would last for a couple of days. And so some days I can have it with rice, some days I can add like chopped tomatoes with it or something like that. So it would turn into, I mean, that's a small thing, but it's a big thing. It just shows you that to this day, I know, maybe not this, I can live off almost $20 a week. I can figure out, if you gave me $20, I can figure out a way to eat and have an experience with that
Mm.
$20 and feel like I'm okay. And I don't think I would have had that if I hadn't had to do that. You know what I mean? So some people are like, oh, won't you go here? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I got this right here. They're like, bro, you got some money now. I think you can. I'm good. Trust me. Let's keep that money there. Let's just go over here and do what we're gonna do. Yeah.
Well, that's, that's, you were referring to the universe. That's how the universe works. And there's something that I always say is that our lives are actually mosaics. And if you
Mm-hmm.
look at a mosaic up close, it's crazy looking, right? You've got all these shards and edges and different colors, and it's not perfect. But when you stand back and you see it,
Mm-hmm.
it all makes
Makes
sense.
sense. Yes, indeed.
And I have this meditation I do in the morning that says, trust the universe to handle the details. Do the work, the universe will handle the details.
Mm-hmm.
So my first
Mm-hmm.
question for you is, you are an extremely talented and powerful performer. How did you get involved in acting?
Oh, thank you for saying that. I'm powerful and talented. I appreciate it. Uh, I have a good friend who I was friends with since kindergarten. And one day I was just coming out of conservatory in London, from London, and he said to me, "You know what, Curtis? I don't think you found acting. I think acting found you."
Mm,
I always played as a kid. I'm the oldest of five. And my closest sibling is 3 years behind me. So I would play by myself in the backyard. I was singing, I was dancing, I was doing all of this stuff, not knowing that I can have this as a profession. I
mm,
really didn't realize that you can get paid for this. So after high school, I was going to go to the Navy, which I signed up for. Then I was going to come back and work as a Montgomery County engineer, painting lines on the street, making what, $30,000 a year, get me a little small house, and just live happily ever after. It was a teacher, Miss Copeland, Miss Patricia Copeland, a high school drama teacher, who said, "No, I think you have more than that." And so she introduced me to this group called the Muse Machine in Dayton, Ohio. And it was a woman named Susie Pisani. When I told her I was going into the Navy, beautiful Italian woman, she said, "No, darling, you have too much talent for that." And she introduced me to the school I ended up going to. Um, Mount View Theatre School in England, and because they came each year to the States, they went to New York, Chicago, and California to audition for students. She had a personal relationship with this principal. He came to Dayton, Ohio, where I did a dance for him. I used to dance with DCDC, Dayton Contemporary Dance Company, second company, and I sang for him, and I did a monologue for him. And thus, he was like, great, they love me, whatever, whatever. They brought my parents in. We had this conversation. It was like, we love him. We want to give him an opportunity to go to the school. It was great. Everybody was happy. I went home. My mother and father would have these big, long faces. Like, I'm like, what? We just got opportunity. They were like, we don't have any money. We can't send you to this school. So we can't. And we're sorry. So I had to go back to Miss Pisani and say, listen, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I can't take this because we don't have any money. And she said, no, 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 wait. She went back to this man, Chef Cynthia, and told him what happened. And he gave me a full ride to this top conservatory in London, England, which I took, and I was there, fish out of water, working my black behind off. And and thus realized that this was a profession and it's something I can get better at and I can do. That's a long answer to your question. But so I think the your answer is that I think acting was always in me. And it was, once again, it was the universe and the creator and God who was like, you know what? No, this is where you're supposed to be. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And to this day, I've only had one. I'm 53 years old. I've only had one 9 to 5 job. And 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 everything that I have is because of my ability to sing, dance, or act. And I do not take that lightly by any means. I do not take that lightly by any means because I have a lot of friends who've had to do a lot of different things. But I just haven't. A job would always kind of present itself. It wasn't that I didn't do the work; it did. But I would be there. I would get it. And yeah, that's a long answer, wasn't it? That was a long
No, that's great.
answer.
There is a quote that I like to use, although I don't know the source of it, but it says basically, higher than the highest human thought is God's ideal for his children. And, and that's your story. And also, I will add that is why it's so important that people that are in the role of educators and counselors,
Oh, yes.
they speak life. Yeah, I've heard so many people say, oh, I didn't go to medical school because somebody told me I didn't have the chops. That's not your job as a teacher. Your job is to encourage and motivate. So it sounds like you landed in the right place with the right people who encouraged and you know, turned on a light for you that you did not even see.
Right. And that's so true. And my parents were that as well. Like my mother, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. My mother's a Jehovah's Witness. I'm no longer a Jehovah's Witness. But in the Jehovah's Witness religion, it's kind of forbidden that I would do outside things like acting or whatever. But
Okay.
my mother had the wherewithal to be like, saw something. It was like, my son is good at this. So she kind of turned, I mean, God bless my mother. So she kind of turned a blind eye so that I can continue to grow and do the things that I loved because she saw that it wasn't just, and even before I knew it. So I'd be like, Mom, I want to go sing at this thing. She'd be like, all right, okay, well, you're going to go, make sure you back. You know what I mean? She would allow that to happen. And my dad as well. They would always be so supportive. So yes, I agree that teachers and educators are definitely those people. And then there are some of those parents, like we're talking about today on this Father's Day, is that who understand that my job is to try to give my child as many of the opportunities and support them in as many ways as possible so that they can prosper and be a better the next level of where I am or what I tried to become.
Well, it's beautiful that your parents got it because God gave you that skill. So why would God implant that in you? And, it's like you're bearing, the parable of the talents. One person buried them, one person multiplied them, the other person, he gave you that to multiply it. So it's doing a disservice to God or the universe or Allah, whoever you believe in, to not pursue that passion and that excellence. That's why it's there.
I agree.
Okay, so you have done such varied roles. You have not been pigeonholed. We were talking off camera about some of the things that people traditionally think black film is about, and you've gone beyond that. How have you managed to not be pigeonholed? And would you agree that your case is rare?
So how have I managed? Well, I would say that it takes a team, right? It takes a team of individuals who understand what you would like for yourself, right? So I'm speaking that team as like my agents, my manager, my publicist, or those people that you say, you know what, this is what I kind of like to do. This is the area that I enjoy. I love these kind of things. I would like to have those kind of opportunities. So that's one part of it, right? And then another part of it is when certain kinds of projects come to you, saying to yourself, that might be a lot of money, but that's not the kind of project that I want to be involved in. So you have to be brave enough and believe in yourself enough just to say, I'm good. That's all right. Not for me. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And then hopefully the other things that you're able to say yes to vary. I get bored quickly. Some people would say that my manager like to say I have a bougie acting attitude, and then I have friends that say, you know what, your ascot is showing, Curtis. Your ascot is showing. I'm like, what? Huh? What are y'all trying to say? What is trying to say about me? But I think it's just I just think it's about knowing the kind of projects that you would like to do. Now, that being said, that's not to say that there are some other kind of shows or other kind of projects that I would like to venture into, and sometimes you're just not invited to that party. So I've been fortunate enough to continue to work, but sometimes I'll be like, hey, why I could have. Okay, forget y'all then. I'm gonna go on over here and do this other thing. So it's a give and take of both of those things. And am I a rare case? I don't know if I'm a rare case. What I will say is that I have friends who don't have the opportunity of having a very popular hit show like The Shy, and people are now recognizing them like I'm being recognized, but who are doing varied roles as well and have been doing it for the last 25 years, like myself. So we may not hear about those people as often because you know how our industry is. We like to spotlight on certain individuals really quickly and then we move on. But there are a lot of us who have been doing a lot of good work and pop up in a lot of good things. I mean, you'll see them, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know that guy. I don't know his name, but I know him from this thing. So I don't think it's as rare as a case as it would be. But I think those are some of the elements. And I work very hard. I take it very, very seriously. I like I delve into a character and aspects of characters and ideas of it that I think some people would say is a little troubling sometimes. But that's because I enjoy it so much. I enjoy it so much. Yeah.
As long as when you're prepping to play duty, you're not going around like just. Okay, so this conversation is so good. We haven't even begun cooking. So let's start cooking.
Oh, right.
And we'll keep going. So I have warmed up my pan. Look, do you have a wok? It looks like you have a wok.
Should I have a wok? Should I not use this?
No, that's fine. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
That's what I'm using. So let's warm up the wok.
Okay.
This is a real quick dish. You look like you eat like this already. So I'm sure this is something that you'll probably make again. Those who are watching today, we are going to make a quinoa fried rice. We are substituting quinoa for rice. And the reason that we're doing that is that as people of color, a lot of us have health issues as a result of what we eat. One of the things that we eat are simple carbs that serve us no good. So what we're doing is we are replacing quinoa, which actually is digested in your body like a vegetable, a complex carb. And we are going to cook it right in place of the rice, season it up. We have got fresh minced garlic, fresh minced ginger, onions. We've got bean sprouts and some scallion. We've got snow peas. We've got green peas, and we've got carrots. Some beautiful toasted sesame oil, some soy sauce for a little bit of salt, because we watch our salt. Again, our people have issues with hypertension, so what we try to do is build layers of flavor so that all you need is just a touch of salt at the end, and it brings everything together. The last thing that I'm going to use is Chinese 5 spice. Mr. Cook is going to be using 7 spice, which is a little different, but it's going to be interesting because 7 spice is actually a spice that's used quite a bit in Northern Africa and the Mediterranean. So his quinoa is going to have that kind of Marrakesh Moroccan type of flavor to it. While we're going to be in New Orleans. So the first thing we've done is we've warmed up our wok. Do you know if your wok is warm enough yet?
No, I have an electric oven too. I don't really this.
Oh, okay. Well, we can continue to talk while we cook because I've
Yeah,
got
yes, it's warm. It's warm at the bottom. It's warm. Yeah.
warm. Okay. So what we want to do, we're going to use about 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. Now, this is going to make about 4 servings, 4 to 6 servings. So I know some people may be turned off and you're like, why are you using so much oil? Well, this is, a minimum of 4 servings, a maximum of 8 servings. So it evens out. And also using this oil is so important because it really imparts a certain flavor that you want to have when you're doing the fried rice type. So we're just gonna pour this oil in the wok, and it's starting to smoke. I really hope my alarm does not go off in here.
Okay.
So we've got our oil, it's nice and hot on the bottom, and we're just gonna kind of coat the sides a little bit.
I can't get my top off my oil. So y'all just keep on going. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain because I don't know what he's doing over here. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
All right, so just pour it like around the side of the wok so it kind of coats the sides.
Got it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's that first action.
There you go. There you go.
So the first thing we're going to do, we are going to take you have some beautifully minced onion, garlic, and ginger. We're going to put that right in the bottom of that oil and let that fry it.
Okay.
I like to try to get ready.
Okay.
And, you can put it down to like a medium high heat.
Medium high. Okay. All right. Well, that smells good already. See, that ginger.
You can add a little more oil if need be.
Good. Good.
And the reason that we use, one of the things that's key in making fried rice or fried quinoa, you want to use leftover or cold grain. And the reason why is because, and undercook it just a little bit. And the reason why is because this is going to cook it some more and you don't want it to be mushy.
Aha. Okay.
So that's why we make sure that it's cold. Come back to room temperature.
Wait a minute. You already put your quinoa in there? I'm supposed to have put it in there already?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we just have our ginger, garlic, and onion going.
Oh, okay.
And now we're going to add our carrots.
Carrots.
Just drop them in there. I'm going to toss that around a little bit.
Man, I've always wanted to do a cooking show. This is amazing to me. I can't believe I'm doing this, man. This is cool. This is so cool. Oh, shoot. Okay.
And after we've cooked that a little bit, and the reason we're putting our carrots in is because our carrots are raw. Now, I like texture. Some people don't like don't like the hardness of it. So I put it in early so that it has the entire time to cook. The next thing we're going to put in are our snow peas. Just drop them in there. And continue with that heat and everything to coat them with that mixture we have in there. Isn't that smelling glorious?
That's smelling really good. Like that ginger and garlic.
Oh,
yes.
Fresh ginger and garlic is key in this recipe.
Okay.
So let's just do a few more questions because I'm pretty sure this is the most best. What are your thoughts? Now, the Shy is based in Chicago. It's about Chicago, and you shoot in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, unfortunately, has a reputation of being a very dangerous city with regards to black on black crime. Mm. So, what are your thoughts on black violence? And is it an issue of gun control? Is it a lack of self-love or both? How do you see it?
Right. Next question. Great question. I sometimes I have trouble with certain verbiage, right? So whenever I hear black on black crime, I immediately kind of go into a defensive mode because I feel like, what does that really mean? You know what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. I do know that a lot of our communities get a bad rap. I grew up on the west side of Dayton, Ohio, and you go into that side of town and it's like, oh my God, don't go over there because they're there, basically. So although Chicago, I've been here and it's a beautiful city, of course. There's beautiful restaurants, there's beautiful people and all of this stuff. So the violence that's happening, which is happening all over the world and all over the country and in different places, I made this, I'm all over the place, I'm sorry, but I made this analogy the other day. Like, there's sometimes people say you don't get on the train at a certain amount of time, or you don't do this at a certain time of the day. But then you may walk down and you see, or in New York City, you see a grandmother with bags walking to that same train that everybody's saying is so scary and so bad. She does that every day, and she has been doing that for the last 15, 20 years, and she makes it home, she gets home safely. Is that train bad? Is it a bad neighborhood? I'm sure it could be, but that could be any place. So I think that the crime that can happen in certain areas is because there are bad people and stupid people and people who do things that they just shouldn't do. I do not feel that a whole community and a whole city should take the rap for those people, because just like I was saying before about the actors or whatever thing, a lot of times we like to sensationalize things that get a lot of noise. And so that's what begins to happen. And then you get stigmatized or something.
Right.
Now, that's not to say that there are, like I said, some people who are out here just to get over, just to have a quick fix and just to, to beat down somebody else. And that's, it's an individual basis. There are certain people who feel like, just like, Duda, like I've been trying to do, everybody's been telling me all these years that I can't do this, that I can't be the mayor, that I can't rise up. So I need to figure out a way that I can, and within my community. And so, and if I go outside of these walls, I'm gonna be taken down quickly. So I have to figure out a way to do it inside of this wall, but in essence, to make it all better. And I feel like that's what Duda is doing. And he's doing this, and some of the ways he go about it, you may not necessarily agree with, but it's the environment and the culture in which he's been placed in that has taught him that that's how the lion hunts, and that's how the deer grazes, and that's how the shark eats. You know what I mean? So there is bad here, and there's violence in the world, and there are people who are very dumb and very ignorant and very ill prepared. But I just think it's up to us to show examples, especially with show examples of it doesn't always have to be that way, and to try to help as often as we can. I don't know if that directly answered your question, but that's kind of the
Our peas.
Our peas, yep.
We're gonna add our peas. No, it does. Especially in a place like this, I don't know if you watch the Fred Hampton story.
Yes.
There's layers to this stuff.
Yes.
There are layers to this stuff, and you can be myopic and look at this one and look at the result, and you've got to fully understand it. You've got to appreciate the layers and layers and layers and layers that lead to it.
I agree.
Yeah, it's not that simple. Okay, now let's add in our quinoa.
Oh, okay. Now, do I need to add all of this? This is 2 cups. You want me to add all of this?
Whatever you think you can eat.
Okay.
I can do about 1 cup cooked, and it just put it all in there.
Okay.
Put it all in there. And you just kind of stir that around a little bit to make sure that it's well incorporated, your peas and your carrots, your snow peas. And at this point, you're going to take your 7 spice. You're just going to sprinkle that on top, and then mix that a little more to make sure that it's well distributed. And another way to incorporate some flavor into this is to prepare your quinoa with a low sodium broth. Okay. So that the flavor already kind of, in the quinoa. That's another way of doing it.
Uh-huh.
And once you've done that, the last thing you're going to do is you're going to take some of the scallions and some of the bean sprouts and then just drop them on top and mix those in.
Okay.
That's the last thing we add, and we really don't cook those. We want those to be nice and crunchy.
Okay. Let me ask you this about scallions. This is an argument me and my wife have all the time. I should have asked my daughter, but I didn't. How much of the scallions do you actually use? Is it just the white, or did you go all the way up to the green?
I use the entire thing. The only thing I don't cook is the root. The entire thing. The flavor is more intense when it's the white part, but you can totally use the green.
Okay, she's right.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. She's right. I'm wrong.
Yeah, you can use the whole thing. So, as we were just talking about the violence, and I agree with you that Chicago gets a bad rap in many ways. You know, we are living in a time where, when we speak about extrajudicial killings by the police and Black men, basically a feeling of being hunted, a feeling of or a knowing that our skin is covered. You have children, and of course it's much more highlighted when it comes to Black men, but Black women are being killed as well. Mm-hmm. How do you empower your children to successfully navigate encounters with the police? Have you had those conversations with them, and what do you know, what's the balance between showing an officer respect and being able to assert yourself?
Right. That's really difficult. Really difficult. So yeah, I have 5 children. Bookends are boys. My oldest is a boy, Curtis Jr. My youngest is a boy, Harlem Cook. And like you said, it's not only the young men, it's the young women as well. So in between them, of course, I have 3 daughters, 3 amazing daughters. So one of the first things that I you know that saying, do as I say, but not as I do. I think you say, I always had a problem with that saying. I always try to flip it on its head. I always try to show my children how to act so that I would know that they're watching me. So that would make me have to step up. It's like, there are eyes watching you right now, dude, who are leading by your example. Meaning that if there were, when I am accosted by the police or somebody who's in authority, official authority, that I'm being as respectful as possible, right? And I'm trying to make sure that I don't agitate the situation. And even as I'm saying this right now, you know, as a Black man, it makes you feel like, wait a minute, I shouldn't have to do that. All I need to do is just say the truth and say what's happening. But we know that that's not the case. So in talking to Curtis, and especially with Harlem, because immediately when they're seen, they are threats. They are threats, sometimes even to ourselves. And, you know, they're taller boys than I am. And Harlem is a jock. So, you know, he kind of walks with a certain swagger. So you have to say to them, you know, listen, somebody may see you, your human, your beauty, your strength, your confidence as a threat to them. It is not a threat to them, but also understand that someone may perceive it as so. And my job to you right now is to imbue in you the ability to differentiate and concede so that you can come back home to me. Now that doesn't mean that if you are in the right, that you don't have courses and things that you can do to combat that. Maybe at that particular time, it's not the time to do it. Be aware, take note, bring it back. We will deal with it. My biggest concern is you coming home. Yeah. So the weighing it, how, when to, and whatever, it varies as well, right? Because, you know, sometimes you have a cop who's just pulling you over because you were speeding and you need a ticket and you just need your license and they're coming to do their job. And then, of course, we have those incidents where there's an individual coming over just because your tint is a little too dark right now, or you look suspicious for some particular reason. And those other individuals that are trying to get a rise out of you, those other individuals that just want to have a problem. And as quickly as you can squash that and move on to the next day to get home, the better
Yes.
it is for me.
Yes.
So yeah, it's unfortunate. It's more than unfortunate. It's wrong,
Yeah.
and it should
But
not be tolerated. Say that again.
it's our reality.
It's our reality, and it has been our reality from the time we've been in this country, the time we were snagged and brought here into this country. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't,
Nope.
and the beauty of it is that now we are able to talk about it openly and have it addressed openly in a way that I haven't seen in my years on this earth. And in the I haven't heard it talk on the news as much as I have on regular, even if it's just talk right now. I feel like that is a step in. That's focus on the issue now, because there was a time when it was not even talked about. It was like, no, that doesn't exist. That's not a thing. And it's like, are you kidding me? It just happened to me. No, it didn't. So yeah, so yeah, I don't know if that was answered, but that's yeah.
Your food should be done. It should be ready to go. It should be
It's
ready to go. All we have to do
all
now is
right.
plate it.
Okay.
Just plate it, and here is where you at the very when you taste it, then you're gonna add your, whatever soy or whatever you want to it. But
Okay.
I like to cook with salt.
Y'all don't judge me out there. Y'all looking at me. Don't be judging my food, y'all. I can see y'all looking at me.
If you have a few of those scallions left over, you just want to put those on top just to kind of zhuzh it up a bit. I have some sesame seeds here that I'm gonna sprinkle. I was having a conversation with my brother. I was telling him that every time my husband leaves the house,
Mm-hmm.
you're so right that now we're having these conversations more openly. That until he comes back home, there's a part of my heart that is, just fearful,
Mm-hmm.
and to live with that type of stress is not what the universe intended.
Right.
And he was saying to me that as a Black man, my brother's probably about 6'2", maybe about 230, and he said he has learned to see himself through a racist eyes. In other words, he said that when he gets dressed, he thinks about how his dress will be perceived. If he has on shades, is somebody going to think that I'm hiding my, and I stood there and I was like, I had no idea that all of this, you're encumbered with all of this responsibility because someone has accepted stereotypes hook, line, and sinker. And so your daily pursuit becomes disproving that stereotype while trying to live your life.
Mm-hmm. And imagine in those days when you're not having a great day, and so you're just tired of the day, not for any particular reason, but you're tired of the day, and then you're confronted with somebody, and you're like, you know what, I know, no, and then you're punished for that in some way. You're arrested, or God forbid, you're shot just because I had a bad day today. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and I didn't feel like coding. I didn't feel like all of a sudden trying to talk to you and making sure you're okay. I just wanted to say I'm good. Leave me alone right now. Let me go.
Right.
Yeah, it's
And
changing. It's going to change. Yeah.
You're looking at this singular interaction, and I've been in this Black body my entire life, and I'm constantly being hit. So guess what? Guess what's going to happen today?
Say it. Say it. Yes,
Well,
indeed.
I've had you all to myself. So let's open up the floor for questions. We've got a studio audience that's here with us. And so let's see who we have our first question from. Is it Larry Hammond? Is that our first question? Is this a video question?
Yes, this is a video question.
Go ahead, Larry.
Good morning, Monarch. I do appreciate you guys taking the time to do something keto friendly as I am on a diet. So I do appreciate you guys. Thank you so very much. I have two questions, just real quick. I want to call you Duda, but I'm going to try to respect and call you Curtis, but I'm so used to calling you Duda on the show. But I'm looking at you, man, and I see that you're fit, and I run marathons, and I try to keep myself fit. And you're 53, and you make me look totally ashamed. I'm like, geez. So, what is your workout regimen like? What do you do for workout and things like that?
Thanks for the question, man. Say your name again. It's
Larry.
Larry, what's up, Larry? Thanks, bro. You can call me Duda. I'm Duda. Call me Duda, man. It's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
I'll accept it. But the biggest thing, man, is I try to watch what I put in my body. That's the first thing, because I've cut out a lot of things, and when I cut them out, my workouts, I don't have to hit them as hard. So I don't do a dairy. I don't do bread. I don't do a lot of sugar. And I do a lot of greens and a lot of vegetables. I'm not vegan. And when I say I don't do them as often as I used to. The last time I had bread, it's probably been a good while, but I might have like pizza, you know what I mean? Like a gluten-free crust or something like that. So I watch what I put in initially. And then I just make sure I do like 3 days a week right now. I'm on like a 3 days, like I box, like for 45 minutes to an hour. Then I might do a hit. Then I'll do like individual weight workout on one of those days. And I do abs every day. And it's funny that you're saying that I look like this, because, you know, I got dysmorphia. I'll be looking at myself being like, doggone it, this part back here, I need to fix this back here. And people are like, sit down somewhere, Curtis, just sit down. But yes, that's what I normally do, man.
So I appreciate that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, my next question for you, man. I'm a Ohio kid myself, Buckeye Nation. I do appreciate it. So my question, I have a daughter that is in the arts, and she's pursuing journalism, and she's minor in arts. And my question to you, man, is, you know, I know in the game that you guys do and stuff like that, them hard days, how do I keep her motivated through those tough times when she's going through those auditions and trying to put her foot out there? You know, what was your mind? What was your focus in that when you were going for those things? And how can I help her along with those?
Yeah. Good question, because I don't know if there's a direct answer to it, but what I will say that my youngest, Curtis, is an actor as well, and my youngest daughter, Jade, is also an actress. I mean, she's not professionally. My thing for them was that I wouldn't allow them to audition for jobs, like for money, until they were 18, until they were out of the house. Because I do think there's a psychological attack on the nose and the rejection, especially at a very young age, I think. That's just me. You know, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. But I think once you see in your child that even after those rejections, that they want to continue to do it, then you don't have to motivate them. The job itself would motivate them. I think if they feel as if, you know what, I'm good, I can't take this, I think we need to respect that as well. Be like, okay, let's find something else to do right now. And if we want to come back around to it, we'll come back around to it, because the rejection is there. I think sometimes is to see how much of a scab you can get, because it's never going to stop. And you have to realize it's not about them or their job. It's about me and what I want to do. Sometimes a rejection is good. You think this project is great, it's a good show, it's a good blah, 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 it's a good money, whatever, but it's just not for you. And so once you get to that point too, you start to realize, oh, I'm going to be all right, I'm going to work. Remember, there's still stuff to this day I'm waiting on and calls and be like, yeah, they decided to go with Idris. I'm like, tired of him. Then he got everybody's job. He got everybody's job. Let somebody else work. So it ain't gonna end, is what I'm saying. So the rejection is gonna come no matter what. And I'm sure Idris is like, why is Denzel still acting? Why is Denzel still acting? But so I mean, you know, I think this is part of the game, man. But the support and the love you give to her in those times, of those hard times, and just letting her know it's going to be all right. Be it that, hey, you know what? Let's go have some ice cream, or let's go to the park, or let's do blah, 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 or let's whatever, or let's see that song again, or whatever. Because that's what my mom did. She was my biggest supporter and my biggest critic. She would in any moment be like, I don't think that was good, Curtis. I think you might need to do that again. And that helps though. Because, you know, I knew she loved me. So, yeah.
Now,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Larry, go ahead.
I just appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Great questions. Great questions. Before we go to the next question, I want to see what your plate looks like.
Okay.
Did you plate your quinoa?
Oh, look, I'm dropping stuff. Can you see it?
Oh, beautiful. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. And here, I don't know if you can see mine clearly.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Your veggies look nice and vibrant. Beautiful. So let's try it. Let's take a taste. Like, you may have to add a little bit of
Soy sauce.
soy to it, but I'm happy to hear that this recipe really goes along with your eating style.
Mm-hmm. Now, how much protein does the quinoa have? A lot of protein?
Quinoa is high in protein. Literally every vegetable, which quinoa is metabolized in your body as a vegetable, they all have protein. So we have Justice Hagler. He has a question. Justice, go ahead.
I was just wondering, since you cut things out of your diet, like bread, do you have any like alternatives that you use to like cut cravings or something like that?
I do. So I use this, I guess it still is bread, but it's just not as much wheat. It's called the Ezekiel bread. So I use that a lot for my substitute for bread. And if I get real bad and I have a real bad craving for bread, Justice, I go get some bread. But I just make sure I'm gonna have to work out the next day. I just make sure I have to work out a little harder the next day. But then I'm like, I'm not gonna do that many burpees. So I'll be like, I just eat this Ezekiel bread. And I think that's a little better for you. That's not my profession. I just read some stuff and be like, okay, I'm gonna try this. And so it's been working. So that's what I do.
That's honest of you. Thank you, Justin, for the question. Any other questions for our guests today? Have you tried cauliflower bread?
No, I've not tried, but I've tried cauliflower pizza crust.
Mm-hmm. Do you like it?
Yes, I do like it a lot. The only thing is when we try to make it ourselves, it didn't have I don't know if I just didn't do it right. It didn't have the right consistency. So it basically was like it was too wet, I think.
Yeah. You got to really wring it out. But I mean, there's so many great ready to purchase versions of it. I use one from Costco. It's actually cauliflower toast, and you can just drop it in the toaster.
I didn't know that. Okay, I'm gonna look that up today.
Great product. Great product. Mm-hmm. Let's see. All right, another question. All right. Do you and your wife cook together? Who is the better cook? Are you and your children on different diets, or do you eat the same thing? So is your house divided, or are you of a house of one accord?
I'm from the old school, the head of the household, and what? No, I'm joking. So only at home now it's just the twins, right? So it's just me and my wife and the twins, and they're only 17 years old. So whatever we make, they eat. And I'm, strangely enough, I do a lot of the cooking, but my wife does cook. And I think it's fair to say that she would say, she ain't here, she would say that I'm the better cook. I mean, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna roll with it, be it if it's true or not. I'm just saying that I like to experiment and make some interesting stuff, and they seem to like it. My older children, I mean, they don't live with me anymore. They have their own apartments and stuff. But Isis is vegan, and my grandson V, he came out. He's been vegan all of his life. He's only 3 years old. No, he's just turned 4 years old. So he's vegan. And then Curtis eats everything. Kimani just turned vegan, but Curtis and MD, his son and his girlfriend, they eat everything. So we're kind of the same, but not really, I guess.
Okay. 2 more questions. Our next question is from Edwin, and then our final question will be from Carl. Edwin, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon to everyone from the nation's capital.
All right.
As you can see, I am in law enforcement, and just wanted to make a comment on what Curtis said. You're absolutely right. It takes all of us. Even for me as a Black man, a Black father, I have to have that talk with my child. One of the reasons why I came on this particular Zoom meeting is that officers have a personality. Like there's something that it's not always straight business. So just like when Curtis said, you know, we have bad days. Other people have bad days. But I can say in my 27 years of law enforcement experience, Curtis is right. You do whatever it takes at that moment to be humble to get yourself home. And it's a very, very small percentage of those who are out there wilding out and doing black on black crime, because the 97, 98, 99.3% of Americans are law-abiding citizens. And it's a very, very small percentage of those bad officers that make it worse for everybody. One of the things I run into, because I work at Blue Senior High School, but one of the things I run into is that as a black officer, you would think I would get more respect from people who of color that look like me. You would think that. But a lot of times I have to actually get out and say, hey, and explain to them that I'm here to help you. Granted, we know that social media has now a light on everything, and it should, because what's happening with some of these officers and what they're doing to citizens is a crime, and they should be convicted, period. But I came on to I wanted people to find an officer, a black officer, and just have a conversation with them. You know, we got children, we pay bills, you know, we put in for a job, and God, he got the job, just like you said. When is this guy going to retire so I can move up? So, you know, we smile, laugh, and sports, but you're right. And it's going to, for that black on black violence, we have to get out the mindset of, if it does not happen to me in apartment 201, I'm not concerned about it. Right. Us as a folk, everybody have to take accountability and come together, because what I tell my students at Blue Senior High School, we are born survivors. We don't survive Middle Passage, depression, roaches, rats, you know, COVID. You know, you don't see us out there jumping off of buildings because it's in our DNA. But excellent, brother. I watched the shot. Keep doing your thing. And yeah, if anybody's ever in DC, all you gotta do is say, hey, do you know Buck? And they'll tell you, because I'm a frontline soldier out there. So thank you, ma'am. I'm really enjoying both days. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. You know, what he said is so powerful, because one of the things that gave the community so much strength was community, was that we took care of each other, we looked out for each other. And what has happened, unfortunately, I think, as a culture, is we think that no man is an island, but we have changed into thinking, like you said, I'm over here or I'm over there, and we don't care for each other as we were, you know, back in the day, how we used to do things. And we're suffering. We're suffering because we are not our brother's keeper or our sister's keeper. And I also like the fact that you spoke up, because we want to humanize police officers, just as we do not want to, as a community, be looked at and stereotyped. Police officers, there is such a stereotype. And I know you catch hell as a Black police officer. So it really is taking time. Those of you who are watching, look this gentleman up, have that conversation, have your children have that conversation, so that we can get away from demonizing one another and truly getting to know each other. So thank you for your time and for sharing what you shared. I think that was are there any last questions we have before we, no, that's it. So, Mr. Curtis Cook, thank you so much for taking the time today. You're still in Chicago, you're still shooting. So y'all, he took time away to spend time with us and speak today. And I am so grateful for it. I told him I'm a huge fan. Duda has swagged off the Richter. He is, you know, I'm not somebody who likes bad boys, but if I lived in the Shy, I might be in trouble with Duda. I might be in trouble with Duda. So thank you so much, Mr. Cook. We are wishing and hoping and praying that your career continues to grow, that you continue to play these different roles that reflect our Black men, our Black fathers in a positive light and just a different light. We thank you for your commitment to your craft, because had you given up, we wouldn't be able to enjoy you in these different roles. We spoke offline about West Side Story, and looking forward to seeing you in that. But thanks again for joining us on Monarch Magazine's special segment celebrating Black men and fathers and Kings in the Kitchen. And I hope this is a dish that you've enjoyed and that you will make time and time again. It's complex carbs, so it's heart healthy and it's good for you. Thanks.
Cool. Yes, you are so welcome. And this was an honor. I've enjoyed every minute of it. And I hope I didn't ramble too much for you guys, because I'm very good at that. And everybody who tuned in, thanks for spending a little time with me today as well. I really, really, really appreciated this, guys, a lot.
Hello, this is Chef Cynthia Pean. I would like to take a moment and share the importance of this campaign and thank our partner, Procter & Gamble, for joining us in an endeavor to remove negative stereotypes surrounding Black men. We encourage all of you to check out the short film These Hands from Procter & Gamble and Uninterrupted, that shows the journey of a father and his son using the power of imagination to explore a range of opportunities beyond athletics. You can watch it here now.
Nice. You did the two things we always talk about. What's that? You worked hard and you
Have fun.
have fun, my man.
It's a real star you got there.
Thanks.
Take care of those hands. They're taking you places.
I got hands. I'm gonna go pro.
You definitely could.
Easy money.
Easy money. Have you ever thought about what else you could be? Go along, son. You could be a brain surgeon. Your hands could operate as skillfully as Dr. Myron Rowe. Or a sports agent, handling big contracts, like Rich Paul. What about an artist? You can be as creative as Brian Blue the Great. The art you make could inspire the world. Son, you can even be an astronaut, flying in space with Leland D. Melvin. Sure, with those hands, you could play for a team, but you could buy a team. Ownership gets to wear the rings first.
I can do all that, Dad?
You can be anything you want with these hands.